Now, let's move on to the next problem. It's going to get a little bit more complicated. From this problem to this one, we just added the 8. And if we go to our next one, we add one more thing. Notice this one, it has the 8, but then I added an 8x. So we have an additional variable. So now instead of just having a variable on one side, we have a variable on both sides. So I'm going to move my camera down. Our goal is the same. We want to get all our variables on the left, and we want all our constants on the right. So I'm going to start out by drawing the line for my equal sign to be sure I keep my equation balanced as I work on it. And I'm going to start first with moving my constant to the right. Now this is a positive 8, so I do the inverse operation, which is to subtract 8. So let me do that with my black pen. And I also subtract 8 from here. Now I want you to notice when I subtracted it from the right side, notice I did not subtract it from the variable, because we cannot subtract a constant from a variable because they are not like terms. We have to subtract like terms from each other, or add them for that matter. So in this case, the like term is the one without the variable, right? So I have a constant of 16. I have another constant that's negative 8. Now we know that 8 minus 8 is just going to give us 0. The 16 minus 8, that'll give me some other value. So we're going to put that one in the calculator. 16 minus 8, that gives me 8. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go ahead and write that value here. It gives me 8. And now I want to deal with the variable. Now remember, we're trying to get our constant on the right, and we're trying to get our variable on the left. Because of that, I need to make sure that I move this variable, which is 8x, over to the left. Now this is a positive 8x, so the way I'm going to move it to the left is by subtracting. So I'm going to put minus 8x. That becomes 0, x is on the right. And then I'm going to subtract it from the left, because whatever I do to the right, we got to do to the left. We always have to keep it balanced. Now, I have 4x's minus 8x's. And like I've told you previously, whenever you're subtracting variables from each other, you cannot put the x in a calculator because it'll give you an error. But what we can do is ignore the x for a moment and just subtract the coefficient. In other words, I'm going to subtract 4 minus 8. So I am going to go ahead and write an x down here because we know we're going to have an x after the number. But now I'm going to do 4 minus 8 in my calculator to see what it gives me. And 4 minus 8 is going to give me negative 4. So I'm going to write negative 4. So I have negative 4x on the left, and I have 8 on the right. So all my variables are on the left, all my constants are on the right, and my final step is to divide by this coefficient of 4. So I'm going to do the division. I'm going to divide by negative 4. I'm also going to divide the other side by negative 4 so we can keep the equation balanced. Negative 4 going to negative 4 one time, just leaving me with the x, which is equal to whatever 8 divided by negative 4 is. So I'm going to put that in a calculator. I'm going to hit enter, and it tells me it's negative 2. So my answer here is x is equal to negative 2.